Welcome back to Beyond the Hashtag. I'm your host, Sammy Leary from tok.shop UK, and the purpose of this podcast is to explore the inspiring stories of TikTok Shop's trailblazers, the entrepreneurs, innovators, and everyday creators who are making waves and building thriving businesses right here on TikTok Shop. So if you are a small business owner, a side hustler, or someone with a dream waiting to be launched, you're in the right place. In this second episode, we have Laura Mallows, who's the founder and CEO of Mallows Beauty, one of the earliest sellers on TikTok Shop UK. Hello, Laura, and welcome to Beyond the Hashtag. Over 100,000 GMV in the last 30 days, currently 476,000 followers, 11.8 million likes combined, and over 100K in a showcase live. Wow. How does that feel?
Thanks.
Just bombarded you there with numbers. Let's dive into it and see how you got to this amazing level of success.
Oh, thanks.
Tell us about Mallows. How did the brand start and what inspired its journey?
I always struggled with my body image, like going through school, and boys made comments, about, I don't know, like my thighs, and they just like stuck to me more than I think anyone else. But I think we all struggle with it, like all girls, right? And all my life there was like these little moments where I just became more insecure, more self-conscious. I moved to London, I got really severe acne, and I spent all my money on skincare. Nothing worked, and I just kept going to like a new skincare counter and then being like, don't worry, you can look like this, kind of thing. And it never worked, and I just made me feel more and more worse about myself. And yeah, I was like, how cool would it be if there was like a beauty company that was talking about real skin, real bodies, the real effects that you can achieve through skincare, because skincare and body care can be incredible, right? But also it's not gonna like make you filtered and flawless. Like there's a realistic expectation from it, and I just wanted to like see myself in packaging and see myself being represented. And at the time there was loads of influencers posting like their real bodies, and body positivity was a massive thing that was up and coming, but there wasn't like a real brand that was doing it.
Right.
I think now there's a lot of brands that do it, and they do it as a marketing campaign, but we try and do it, even though we're a small business, right? We still try, and we talk about it all the time, and it's in our packaging and everything campaign we do. When we do campaigns, it's kind of, how do we incorporate self-love, and how do we talk about this in a non-obvious way without just saying love yourself,
Yeah. So did you consciously write these things down when you were kind of thinking about the kind of philosophy of the company? Were you, okay, it's got to be these 3 or 4 things?
Yeah, I was like super excited at that time in my life. Like I worked for a skincare company for about 20 days, and I quit because I had all these ideas, and I think they were kind of, I don't know, rightly so, in their own way. They were on their own path, right? And I was like, oh no, we could do this and this. And they weren't really listening, so I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do it myself. So I quit and started Mallows Beauty, and I kind of got so inspired. I kind of wrote everything, I wanted it down, everything, mood boards and images, and I found this amazing graphic designer who kind of created this kind of the vision that you see of Mallows today, with the big bums and everything all over the packaging. And I went from there really and started reaching out to like major retailers, and I just got obsessed. I think I was like obsessed, and from that moment onwards, 5 years, I have breathed, slept Mallows Beauty.
Wow.
Like it's just been my world and my existence. I do actually worry about, if I ever have to take a week off, where my brain would go.
Another company, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
We'll see. Yeah.
I assume for someone else that hasn't started a beauty brand, let's say me, for example, the first thing I'd be thinking is, oh, great, but there's so many barriers to entry here. There's like regulatory stuff, the formula, the testing, all that stuff. Did none of that, well, clearly none of that actually got in your way or stopped you?
No, I didn't let anything stop me, really. I think there was a lot of people at the time that were like, oh, your graphics like a really kind of look like your products are going to be unnatural and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, this is what I want to do, so I want to do it. I didn't really have like I want to be a £50 million business or anything at that time. I just wanted to create this like cool brand that was a lifestyle and funded my own salary. That's all I wanted at that time in my life. And I kind of just went across every hurdle as it came up. But one of the reasons I used UK-based suppliers was the fact that I knew that they'd have all the regulations, they'd have all the CSPRs, they'd hold my hand through the process, and I wasn't confident enough to outsource to other regions, because I was like, oh, if I hurt anyone or burn anyone's skin, then it's all going to be on me. And I really wanted to like visit the suppliers and see the processes and just yeah, and I think that was like reassurance, you know.
When you quit your first job, the skincare job,
Yes.
I mean, at that point, were you financially stable to a point where you'd be like, okay, yeah, I can leave this alone and spend 6 months developing a product or something like that?
No, so I when I was before I worked for the skincare company, I actually worked in London for a fashion company, and I loved that job so much. Then I moved back to Wales and I got a job as a skincare buyer. But someone I was working with at June gave me a consultancy job, so I was doing that 2 3 days a week, I think.
Right.
And then working on Mallows every single other hour under the sun. So I was kind of doing the two at the same time. So then that funded me. So I didn't pay myself for, I don't know, like good like 2.5 years. I think when Arabelle was born, I think I started paying myself, and she's 3 now. So,
Wow.
and I had 3 weeks maternity leave. So like, yeah, when she was 3 weeks old, I nearly lost my business. I had like had no time off apart from those 3 weeks. I'd given birth. I think I was like live the day before I'd given birth or something. Gave birth and then had like 2 or 3 weeks just at home and trying to take it easy. And my accountant rang me and she was like, "You've got no cash in the bank. You've got supplies to pay. An agency spent all of your money on ads and they've got a really shit return." It was January, so um, that happens in January. And she was like, "Well, I don't know what we're gonna do. You're gonna like," and I was like, "Oh my god, I cannot be bankrupt at 30 with a baby." So I panicked. I went straight back to work, her strapped to me,
God.
right? Like she was on me in meetings, and I was like breastfeeding and stuff. And someone from tok.shop messaged me, and they were like, "Hey, we've just launched this thing called tok.shop. You can add like an extra 10k GMV to your." At that point, I was like, "Happy days!" I mean, that is exactly what I need. So I did my first live. Not sure what your question was, by the way, but I'm on a tangent, so we're gonna go with it. And I think I did like 5k on my first live.
Wow.
And like tok.shop at that point in my life like definitely saved my business.
Wow.
Yeah.
If we take it back to way before Mallows, were there signs at school, for example, that you were entrepreneurial or you kind of wanted to be a businesswoman?
I don't know. Like I think I was always like mega creative, and I was definitely academic. I got full marks in my like most of my GCSEs and A levels, and school really wanted me to go to Oxford, and
Wow.
I went to Oxford and I just didn't fit in. The whole time I was there, I was like this is not my vibe. So I didn't go. I then went to do history in Southampton. Lasted 3 months because I kept falling asleep in all my lectures. And my mum and dad were like, "Right, you're not enjoying it. You're not getting what you want. What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to do fashion design." But I think my school had pushed me down this academic route.
Right.
So I quit and did fashion design. And then I was like buying and selling stuff on eBay, like little bits here and there, and it wasn't anything major. It was when I kind of started my job and I saw how many millions of pounds I was making for departments of handbags. I was like, cool, I could start a brand. I've got a fashion design degree and my uni gave me so many lessons. I like created a brand every other day. Like I think one was called like Sister Studios, like a handbag brand. This is like 10 years ago now, like 8 years ago. And I like came up with the brand every day, but nothing fueled me like Mallows did.
Right.
Like when I started thinking about Mallows, I was like, this is it. This is the one. Yeah, and it kind of went from there.
Wow. And do you think so? That feeling clearly steered you to like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got this feeling about this specific thing.
Yeah, I was obsessed.
Yeah.
I was like couldn't shake the obsession with it, and I was like excited. And I think I'd bought and designed like brown and black handbags for June for ages, and I'd always try to sneak in something pink and fluffy every now and again, and didn't really get very far with it. And I was like, oh my god, there's a pink shiny brand that I can design. Like, let's do it. So yeah, kind of ran away with it.
Those other people out there that have these ideas and like creative people and have like 5 or 6 ideas a day, a week, whatever. Like, what is it that makes you think, okay, this is the one? Like, is there a specific thing within that idea that gives you that feeling?
I don't know. And like, I think I get ideas all the time, right? I've come up with other brands since, and I haven't really done anything with them. I've come up with another brand actually, and had some like really excited retail conversations about it, but I didn't go any further. because Mallows just takes over my life. There's just no way at this time that I could launch anything new. But and we've got like other brands within Mallows going on. But I think for me, this like hyper focus obsession,
Right.
you know, like, oh my god, it was all I wanted to do,
Right.
you know. Working for the consultant was hard at that time because I just was obsessed with Mallows,
Right.
and I think for me, like, if it dies quickly, I can get quite obsessed with something at the start and then it'll die quickly, and
same.
then I'm like, oh, maybe that's not the one.
Right.
When that obsession is growing and growing and growing, I'm like, there's legs to this, or
Right.
you see a spark, right? And then every time something bad's happened with Mallows, and there's been loads, right, it hasn't deterred me, it's fueled me forwards more, you know. So yeah, I think, and you can like, you know, you get really excited. When I first talked to someone about Mallows as well, like, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? You have all those like next steps and what you're going to be in 5 years and 10 years and so on. Yeah.
Do you ever find that those sometimes, like I've spoken to people, and I think I'm guilty of it as well, I jump so far forward so quickly in my own imagination that I'm like, oh, well, I've kind of lived that now.
Yeah.
And then you give up and you're like, oh, won't even start.
It's like burnout, isn't it? It's like creative burnout.
Yeah.
You go like, so excited. You've like, for me, I've started a podcast in my head about 10 million times. But there's something I want to start at the moment. I haven't really spoken about it publicly or to anyone, but I'm not sure if I should be cut out, but like I really want to talk about like how we build confidence and confidence for kids. Having like a 3-year-old now, and I'm scared of the world of social media that she's going to. Yeah. Because, you know, as soon as there's so much negativity online and people are very quick to jump at people, right? And you can very innocently say something or post something and it causes a load of more issues and hurt people. Do you know what I mean? It's also public, especially on TikTok. You know, you can post a video, it doesn't just go to your followers, right? It goes to a huge mass of people. So I do want to do something around like confidence and confidence building and education around that, because it's easy to make mistakes, but what do you do if you made that mistake? Yeah. And how do you deal with it as a person if that's coming towards you? Because it's tough. Yeah. It is tough. And I think there's not enough education around when you post a negative comment, when you join a conversation and you say something negative, you are a troll. Like, you're a troll. Like, I think if we all think about that as we're posting something or joining in an argument or whatever, we've all been there, right? But like, you are that troll then, and I think we all forget that sometimes. Yeah. You know. Yeah. There's people like fights across social media all the time. I think people don't have the concept of that there's real people behind those phones. Yeah. Like watching and reading, and families and things that are watching and reading, and it hurts. Yeah. And like we were talking about before, this was the first time you set up a business, didn't have a background in business. No. But then what you were talking about then about kind of how you sustain the mission and keep all of your staff on board with the mission every day and that kind of thing. Then you start looking into kind of like operational excellence. I mean, like there's huge corporate values that, you know, huge corporate people that are constantly trying to do those kinds of things every day that are a million miles away from Mallows, for example. Yeah, but like also from me as a person. Yeah. Like for someone who wasn't in employment for very long before being an employer. Yeah. Like and I brought people in to help me, right? There's like stuff like, you know, we've got HR advice now, but you know, people always, you know, there's like a level of professionalism that comes with the title of CEO. Well, I never started a company to be that. I wanted to have fun and do something, you know, creative. And, you know, maybe that's not what I'm best at, but also kind of, I keep saying to everyone, like, I want to take the title CEO off me and just be founder. Yeah. Because that resonates with who I feel like I am. Yeah. More. But there's the corporate, like, and I don't know, like keeping staff happy, you know, and they want bigger salaries and all the carnage with it, and also giving people like progression. And I've had some incredible people that have worked for me, and they were worth 20k more a year than I could possibly afford to pay them, you know. Yeah. but I can't. If I could keep the team I had a year ago, I would be paying for like so much more in salaries, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Like it is a bit of the thing with running this business is every single day it's a mental challenge.
Right.
Because I think you've got all eyes on you.
Yeah.
The like social media, the team, the bank, up, down, sideways. And half the time, I certainly feel like I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just trying to plod along. People ask me questions, I'm like, yeah.
What do you think?
What do you think? What should we be doing? I don't know, I probably shouldn't be saying that. But...
And is it just you?
Who is in the team?
Yeah, as in like, are you the only person? You're at the top?
Yeah. No, I've got an incredible MD.
Okay.
Naima, she is honestly like my rock in life. Honestly, she's the most amazing, incredible human being you'll ever meet in your world. Like she is insane and she works so hard. And then there's like a team of us. There's about 15 of us at the moment. It's tighter than it was. And I also have like 2 NEDs. So Lewis, who owns Skinny Dip,
Okay.
like phone cases.
Okay.
And Julie, she's just incredible, like voice of reason, and has operated, just been a chair for lots of different companies. So I've got those as like soundboards.
Okay.
Around me, so I'm not on my own. I've got like amazing people around me for sure.
But day to day, it's you.
Me and Naima. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you start again? What was I going to ask? So you start TikTok shop. What's your kind of strategy and your thinking around, okay, do we go for affiliate? Do we start live videos?
No, affiliate wasn't even a thing when I started, I don't think. I think it was literally just live shopping. There was no strategy. It was, okay, like just add to a basket and see what happens. And they were the good old days where you could do like lucky dips and spin the wheels and everything, all that fun stuff. And you'd have like 2,000 people watching you at one time, like all the time, because there was no one else live. I literally used to like be at my desk with Arabelle attached to me from 9 till 6, then go to my warehouse from like 7 till 10. And then I was breastfeeding, so I'd drive home really quick so she could feed, and then go to sleep, and then sleep and then do it all over again.
God.
There was no real strategy. It was, I think, I just tried loads of different things. Discounts, or like if you spent over £30, you got X free.
Right.
And that was kind of it. But it added so much value to my business, and I built this like amazing community who still kind of comment me and message me today, and they're like, oh, I missed those lives. And, yeah, and then I could think then about a year later, then we started like working on affiliates.
Right.
And we just like hyper pumped out samples to people across the platform, and they got to try my products and then tag them in videos, and we offered commissions. And yeah, so the affiliate community was incredible. It was like, yeah.
Wow. With a kind of such a mission-led business like Mallows,
Yeah.
the sort of body image, that driving, like people's acceptance of their own body image and that kind of thing, driving the business forward.
We make so many bad decisions when we don't love ourselves.
Oh.
And that impacts us further.
Right.
Like I always say, like bad boyfriend choices. Like, when you don't love yourself and you choose the wrong people to be around you, then that's like catapulted making bad decisions.
Yeah.
We don't like stick to your value, and it's really hard to break out of that cycle, that negative cycle, negative conversations. So I think that's why it's super important to love yourself. Like I was definitely choosing wrong people to be around me and accepting less, but now trying to be better every day,
Yeah, definitely. When you first got onto TikTok shop, how did you kind of get those values across to the community, or what would be your community? Yeah,
I mean, it's tough. I think initially, like that wasn't our strategy on TikTok. Our TikTok was just talking about who we were,
right?
Who we were a brand, and we were like filling products and making things, and every single mistake we ever made, we put on TikTok. We used to get such amazing support, or if we leveled up and we got a new machine or new warehouse, whatever, we talked about it on TikTok and kind of had like this incredible community of supportive people around us. Like behind the scenes, and then like just through videos, then we just really wanted to use like real bodies, so we didn't want to use any filters. We wanted to kind of like talk about things that people didn't want to talk about, like how to shave your kitty, or smelly pits, or like butt knee or back knee. I got so much trolling off I've had so much trolling from my bum over time.
Wow.
Because like I just posted my real bum using products on it, and then everyone's like, hey, you've got spots, you've got stretch marks. I'm like, that's the point, you know.
Yeah.
I've had a baby, like what do you expect,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, so that's kind of like in a group of boys, like don't know what to do. Yeah, we just try and talk like real bodies,
Yeah.
talk about things people are too afraid to talk about, you know, or anything anyone's ashamed of, or like that's what we try and tap into really, as like a general thing as a brand. At the moment I'm doing rejection therapy, so doing absolutely terrifying things to try and make people do the things that they're scared to do, right?
Right.
So I walked down the streets of New York covered in shave butter in a bikini. I assume from that look you haven't seen the video.
Nope.
Sounds mental. Yes, it does sound mental. It is mental. You know the opening scene of Devil Wears Prada where she like walks through the streets of New York?
I've not seen it.
Have you not seen the Devil Wears Prada?
No.
What? You create like homework. You gotta go and see it. It's amazing. It's like my favorite film.
Wow.
I don't know why it's not. I don't know. I think obviously wanted to always work in the fashion industry, so I was
Right.
like saw myself as Anne Hathaway, you know. And she quits at the end, doesn't she? But you haven't seen that.
No.
Yeah, just look at it later.
You've just ruined the ending for me.
I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, that saved me a couple of hours. Yeah.
Anyway, so she walks down the streets of New York, and it's like the opening scene, and she like her outfit changes, and it's like a transition. So there's a cab drives past, and she changes outfit.
Right.
And it's quite like iconic in the world, like girl worlds.
Right.
So I was like, fashion brands have it so easy. They can just like wear their clothes out for dinner, take a photo, do
Yeah.
this. And then someone was like, well, why don't you just do that with your shave butter on you? And I was like, oh no, where's this going? And so I was like, yeah, we'll go to New York and you will do transitions, the same scenes of Anne Hathaway, but you're covered in shave butter. So I was like, okay, cool. So we did it. It was
Wow.
terrifying. I nearly got arrested. But it did well on TikTok. But it was all about, I wanted people to see that and be like, look, I've had a baby. I've struggled with my body image issues. If I can do this in the streets of New York, you can go on the beach or
In
Mallorca or get changed in front of your boyfriend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's like daunting, right? Or go and ask someone for, I don't know, like, you know, tell someone you're not happy with your morning coffee or whatever it is that you want to do, or go for that job, you know, the interview. And then kind of lent into rejection therapy. So that's the thing that I'm doing at the moment that's like self-lovey in my brain.
Right.
Because I went recently on the tube and I like wrapped myself up in a towel and then shaved in a towel on the tube with a towel on my head and a towel. And I am extroverted, introverted, so I can be extroverted when I'm comfortable, but I'm very introverted at times.
Yeah.
And that was like, and then people see it, but I'm like, it's hard to do, like it's daunting, but it makes you feel incredible afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I've just accomplished that, you know.
Yeah, it's like another barrier you kind of knocked down, right? That you thought you couldn't do, and then I guess that opens up like the next level of confidence in a way. Like, oh, I can do that. Oh, I can do the next thing. And...
Yeah, because when I started Mallows, right, we did this photo shoot with these models, and they were like covered in coffee body scrub, and I remember wearing this big baggy purple dress.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, my family used to be like, why do you wear everything so baggy all the time? Why don't you wear anything tight? And I've like felt very comfortable if I was wearing like baggy stuff, you know. And I was terrified. Like I remember like videoing them, and they were like getting a photo with me, and I was like, absolutely not. But they managed to convince me just to get in one photo.
Right.
So for that girl then would not believe in a million years that after having a baby and covered head to toe in stretch marks, I generally don't think there's an inch of my body that doesn't have a stretch mark on it, would be walking down the streets of New York covered in shave butter in a bikini. Like genuinely, I would have never believed that in a million years.
Wow. So
that's something positive that Mallow's done for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
For me personally.
One of our questions was going to be, you know, are there certain ways that your consumers are maybe using your products in the wrong way? But it sounds like that you're so explicit with how you should use your products, because that's all part of the we're okay to talk about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That actually, I don't think that's an issue.
I don't know. Like I always say, if there's like negativity in how people are using the products, it normally does well for us. So the wax pen, we launched a wax pen recently. And when we first initially launched a shave butter, there was loads of negativity because how we were filming it as well was really misleading. We were like showing it on the skin to show the colour versus like foaming it up. So I think that was really misleading. So I think we do have those comments people like don't understand how to use things, and maybe like in a video you're not showing it in the actually how to use it because it's not visual.
Right.
But then it just leans into like a really kind of good conversation on TikTok. I'm all for anyone saying negative things about products and then us trying to kind of talk about it like you would in a shop, right?
Yeah.
You know, this is how we'd use it. Actually, you only need an almond-sized amount of shave butter. You lather it with warm water. The wax pen, like there was a lot of education. Even for me, when I first started using the wax pen, I was like, this doesn't work. What's going on? And I was like, no. You have to do this and heat it up, and then when you do this, this, and this, and this, and then it works. And I was like, okay, cool. But that kind of how-to element always does well on TikTok.
I was going to say, how do you translate that into bricks and mortar stores when you're like selling stuff? That must be so much more difficult and such a different thing.
Yeah. So we launched shave butters in Superdrug. They do so well. Superdrug have been super supportive of me since I started Mallows. Like 2 or 3 months into Mallows, they bought a gift pack. Like literally 3 months into the business, sent me an order of like 25,000 into this gift pack. I didn't know how the hell I was going to make it. I just kind of smiled and was like, no problem, it will be there. You know, all my family, all my friends in like a tiny little shed.
Wow.
Making this gift pack of it was pre-made sachets, right? They were like made in a factory. They were actually made in a factory. These sachets back then, and then they were shipped to us, and then we had to like stick them into a gift pack. But then COVID broke out, and the gift pack didn't say what it was going to do on it. So no one had a bloody clue, and I hadn't really worked in retail or like beauty back then. So obviously it's very obvious that you should probably put on the front like hydrating face masks. But I was like, let's just put a girl on there and put loads of positive affirmations on it, and yeah, it'll be fine. So we got kicked out of Superdrug very quickly, and then it took me like another year or so to get back in.
Wow.
But since getting in then, it's been phenomenal. Like we launched in 50 stores as a trial, and then unheard of, they then launched us into 100 within 2 months, and now we're in like 700.
Wow.
And shave butters just do really, really, really well for them. But I think that is an issue. I'm still trying to like figure out how you translate the brand into retail when videos sell things so beautifully.
Yeah.
How you kind of do that. But we're actually launching shop-in-shops in Superdrug soon. So I'll let you know. But now I'm trying to be very bold on packaging, what they do.
Right.
You know, wax pen or USPs all over the packaging, which I definitely didn't do to begin with. I just kind of thought I'll put positive messages on there so everyone feels good about themselves, you know, instead.
I mean, it was a nice idea.
Yeah, it was a nice idea, yeah.
Did they give you any feedback in terms of like, Laura, look, where does it say what it does, blah, blah, blah?
Superdrug.
Yeah.
They loved it. They did love it.
But the first time?
The first time, yeah, they loved it. They loved the packaging. They were super supportive. They thought, I think they also, it was on the bottom shelf. There's loads of things going on then as well. You know, COVID broke out. Not many stores were open. So it got discounted, and then, but they still like spoke to us like a year later, and we got a core product in there then, which we knew did well on as well. Like shave butters is just majority. I think 80% of my revenue comes from shave butters.
Right.
Like it's really, really high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because we were talking earlier, I'm wondering about like how that whole bricks and mortar thing starts. Is it literally they just sort of secretly buy a couple of samples and you've got no idea they've done it, and then they write to you? Or like, how does that? Yeah,
I've never reached out really. I did when I first started. Then the second time Superdrug, I launched on their marketplace, and we were doing really well on their marketplace. So I won like Marketplace Brand of the Year award, and they took me to the Gherkin. Was at the top of the Gherkin. It was like the coolest night ever.
Nice.
And then Naima, and I was actually ex Superdrug, so I was like having these conversations with Superdrug, and I was like, they're talking about JBPs, like joint business plans and stuff, and I was like, I am out of my depth. Please, can you come work for me and help me? So she came on board and helped me then, because I didn't know what I was doing. So that kind of Superdrug. Boots approached us, and then everyone else kind of approached us, I think. But yeah, we haven't really done much like retail outreach.
Right. They come to you.
Yeah, probably because of TikTok, but now we're going the other way now.
Right.
Now we're trying to, I really want to get in a grocer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean Tesco or like Sainsbury's like that, so it'd be like cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then when you come forward to them now, or you're pitching to them, do you kind of also say, oh yeah, by the way, we've got like 1 million people on TikTok Shop?
Yeah, we got 500,000 followers. Yeah, kind of. It's really surprising how many people know who I am. It's terrifying. It's terrifying, especially on dating apps. It's the worst thing ever. Like guys like relay who you are and what you've done, and you're like, this is cool, thank you.
Well, like me reading off this card at the beginning.
They're like
100,000 followers on TikTok.
No, like this I honestly had it so much like, oh, this one guy was like, oh, you've just come up on my YouTube ad, like he was like talking about it, and I was like, I don't really know what's to go from this. And this other guy was like, oh, my ex-girlfriend was obsessed with your products. And I was like, well, I can't date you, that'd be disloyal to like a Mallows customer. I was like, I can't possibly date you, what are you on about? She would hate me.
So you start on TikTok Shop. When's the moment that you realise, okay, this is a goer?
I did a 12-hour live on Black Friday.
Wow.
Right? And it was like 2022, and I think they were pretty unheard of at that time. I don't know whose idea it was. I don't think it was mine. I think it was someone else in the team. They were like, let's just do a 12-hour live, and then be like, what do you mean? And we did like 50k, and I just couldn't believe it. Like I was like, oh my god, this is. I mean, at that point, like 50k was our biggest month.
Right.
So we did that in a day, and I was like eating McDonald's on the live and stuff, and. It was carnage, and I was like, this is amazing. So then I did another one Boxing Day.
Wow.
And I was like, right, we need to be doing lives every single day. So then we launched like Jan 2023. Like we kind of closed our shop in Cardiff and put the lives online and just did like, I was like, we were only making like, the shop in Cardiff was making like £300 a day. Like it was tiny, and then like maybe £1,000 on Saturday and Sunday. Like it was in like the dead end of the centre.
Wow.
Like, oh, we're making like at least £300 an hour on a TikTok live, like at least, like let's just sack it off and do that instead, so all the girls went live instead, and yeah, it was phenomenal for us. It kind of changed the game, and leveled us up. And then showcases came out, so I was the second brand in the UK, I think, second brand to do a showcase live.
Wow.
And that day we did like nearly 200k on TikTok. Yeah, it was amazing. It was incredible. Yeah.
What goes through your mind at that point?
Oh, you're not gonna like it, but I think when we were talking to like TikTok and planning it, we were all talking about making £1 million on that live.
Wow.
So and this is I'm very hard on myself, and I'm very self-critical, but I blame myself for not doing enough revenue. I know. Looking back now, I'm like, oh god, that's amazing. But I think like everyone, there was like so many people in that room with me, and I just felt like I let everyone down.
Oh god. Was everyone else celebrating? Like, oh my god, we still smashed it.
I think throughout the day it was very stressful. You know,
Right.
like people had flown over from China. There was a lot of people in that room, and there were conversations about, let's make sure you have £2 million worth of stock in the warehouse. Da 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 da. And we got prizes and stuff to model it to hit like a minimum of like 400k. Everyone was saying all these numbers, so I think going in there, and then that was the day there was like a massive power outage.
Right.
So the live got taken down when it was doing really, really well.
Oh,
and it was quite hard to get it back to that level. But I was just always constantly worried that I was going to let everyone down, or that we weren't like, profit for me is a massive thing. Obviously we had a conversation about it before I started.
Yeah.
But it's the thing that like keeps me up at night, and the thing that it's always in the back of my mind, like how do we make a profit, because everything's so expensive and things.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
But yeah, I don't know, I just was worried I was letting everyone down, I think.
Wow, god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even after all of that.
I know. Now I'm like, yeah, it was a really good day. Like, should be proud of myself. Really good day, and the team were like, my team were incredible. Like, my team are amazing. They're all making bundles like left, right, and center, and looking at the data, and egging me on and cheering me on and, you know, handing me smoothies and stuff. Yeah. But they're quite hard, the 12-hour lives, I think, to like keep your brain. I've had like naps mid 12-hour life because I've had a Red Bull on the Black Friday one and I had a nap immediately after.
Wow.
But there's always something that goes wrong and you're trying to like, obviously you're live on a camera and you don't want people to see this stuff going wrong. The Black Friday one was the biggest disaster. Like our backdrop didn't arrive until, so we were there going live and I was like, where's the backdrop? And like it's gonna arrive at 10. I'm like, cool, well, live starts at 10. So we just had like nothing behind us and then it's at 11 o'clock someone just shuffled in the backdrop. I was like, oh god.
But still successful.
Black Friday, yeah, it was successful, yeah.
How many, do you remember how many orders that was in a 12-hour period? So 200k.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of orders. Yeah.
How quickly did you get to a point where you were thinking we're going to need more people? Like we just don't have the capacity to pack as much as we're selling.
Oh, so we started working with FBT.
Mm-hmm.
So it must have been like August 2023. And we couldn't pick and pack orders fast enough.
Right.
And there was a limit at that point where TikTok like took your account down if you reached a certain amount of orders. So I was live with Carrie Ryan and we were like, oh my god, the sales are amazing. And because I was just in a sale and it was like, oh, we were doing like 20k a day. It was mental back then. Like that was the highlight of TikTok for me for sure. 2023 was my year. And they took the live down because they're like, you can't pick and there's too many orders for you to pick and pack. So I was like, right, FBT it is, because
do everything for you.
do everything for us, and then we could have big days and not have to worry about kind of, you know, reaching like annoying people.
Yeah.
You know?
And does that, I guess that takes like the load off a little bit, less anxiety then?
It did take the load off. Again, there was just more costs, you know, in the P&L. But yeah, it did take a massive load off. I think we still do like the mystery bundles though, so mystery bundles get packed by us in house.
Right.
Yeah, it did take a lot of pressure and stress off. I don't really know. I think we did a £5 sale in December and Jan because we had like loads of stock and that went mental.
Right.
Like mental. It's those moments in life where you're like, oh my god, people are like personally messaging me on Instagram and I'm like such a people pleaser. If someone personally messages me, I'm like, oh my god, like
I'll do anything to help you.
Yeah. Print this label off, pack this one first, and I've got like loads of them coming in. I'm like, oh god, don't want to upset anyone. And I'm like putting my personal email address out, like if anyone's got any problems, message me personally.
Wow.
It's like 2 a.m. packing orders in the warehouse, and then I was like, right, we physically can't pick and pack orders fast enough. The wads were like this. So I was like, if anyone's in the area and wants to come and help me, come to my warehouse and help me pack. Oh my god, my community were lush. Like they just turned up.
God.
And they were there till 2 a.m. with
Oh
me.
my god.
Packing orders.
That's so nice.
Like sending cookies and brownies and stuff. Honestly.
So cool.
Yeah, oh, it was lush. That is like the luscious side of social media, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a nice time for sure.
How did you celebrate your success? Not giving yourself a paycheck for 2 or 3 years?
I don't really celebrate things, to be honest. And I think people struggle with that.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always like, I'm honestly terrified 24/7 that it's going to end and everything's going to be taken away. I'm not going to be able to pay salaries or whatever. So I live in a constant state of terror. Which I know is not very positive to say.
No. Not really.
If I feel like I've had a good day, I'll maybe take some time off and take Arabelle for an ice cream.
Nice.
And do some yoga. You know?
Okay. Yeah. That sounds cool.
Recently just been able to do a headstand in yoga. I'm quite proud of myself.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Fair play.
Yeah, thanks.
We asked our listeners to send in their questions for Mallows, and we've got some fantastic ones lined up. So let's see what the community wants to know. So Justin said, what advice would you give to beauty brands looking to grow on TikTok Shop?
I think growing is like a really exciting thing, especially if you're at the start. So I think getting an account manager and nurturing that relationship with an account manager, trying to reach into the affiliate community and gift samples, but really, I think really think about who you're gifting samples to because it can be quite expensive. So test small, and then really work on your content. So making sure your content, 'cause I see content out there and I'm like, oh my god, like it needs to be bright, you need to be explaining what things do, but not just this is a shave butter, you shave your legs. Like find a really tricky, awkward comment and do a video off that and really dive into the detail. That's what people love. And then get on live and just get people knowing you and who you are and getting to talk to you. So I'm just thinking about it now. It's like all the things I don't do any of that anymore. Like, but they would be my top tips. I think growing a brand on TikTok can be really powerful when you're like growing your brand, trying to get your voice out there, trying to be seen and heard. And I'd definitely pick a niche. You know, the brands that have done well have had something that no one else has had. Like, don't copy someone else or copycat or just find something someone else is doing. Like, find a little niche. Like, for me, shave butters, no one was doing shave butters at that time, right? And then, you know, the marshmallow sponge. I still bloody use my marshmallow sponge now. Like, it's amazing. And all the the products that I've seen that have done really well, like blushes, whatever, they're unique and niche, and it's like really talking about that one product and leaning into it and explaining it and finding different ways to use it, you know.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
James said, if Mallows could go back to its first TikTok shop live stream, what's one thing you would do differently?
Oh my god, I wouldn't. I would just love every moment of it. I would just watch it and go and redo it. Like I think back all the time, like 2022, 2023, they were like 2022 was stressful because obviously I was like didn't have maternity leave and Arabelle was with me. I used to be so funny. I used to like jump on calls with TikTok and I'd be like covered in sick and like everyone would be like 20 like do you want to go? I was like, no, this is me 24/7. So this is no, we got rearranged. Like this is my life. Yeah, my first live stream, it was just fun, and it was like there was less pressure back then as well in terms of like you had to make things look a certain way or sit. You could just be you and not have to be this brand or whatever. So I don't think I'd do anything differently.
Wow. And Alex said, what's the best way to balance brand partnerships while maintaining authenticity?
We don't do a hell of a lot of brand partnerships, like, but I suppose choosing the brands that you really like resonate with as a brand, I think that I would do. Like, I don't know, we an incredible brand in Ireland that I met and like Tan by Marissa Peer, and I always said that brand. I think like going with someone who's like on a similar vibe to you and kind of the same. I think that's how I'd remain authentic. If you're gonna go with someone that's completely different, you know, then
it's not gonna look great.
It's not gonna look great, is it? Like if I was going with like a brand, you know, the weight loss patches, I don't think that would resonate well for Mallows. Yeah.
And finally, Jamie said, what's the most surprising feedback you've received from customers through TikTok Shop?
Surprising feedback. I don't know. What were we saying, positive or negative?
Let's keep it positive. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I feel like, do you know what the most positive thing for me, right? One of the most positive things from TikTok Shop, we did our Mega Live in July, and every person I went to award a prize to, they all answered the phone with a Mallows Beauty eye mask on.
Wow.
And I was like, that is the most powerful, cool thing that's ever happened. Like the fact that I was like FaceTiming these people, they didn't know they were going to be FaceTimed, so they dropped their number into the chat and into their order number. And the fact that they were like wearing a Mallows Beauty eye mask, I was like, this is like life made. Do you know what I mean? That is cool.
That's really cool.
Think, you know? But people love like the products and what they do and how they've made them feel, and honestly that means the world to me. You know, just that people have like a positive experience in their bathroom. The whole idea of Mallows is just you go into your bathroom and instead of it saying, you know, anti-wrinkle cream, it's just something positive that you're looking at because you don't want to be reminded of your insecurities all the time. So a little bit of Mallows happiness in everyone's bathroom makes me happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
What inspiring journey Laura shared with us today. As we wrap up, let's look ahead. What's next for the brand? What's next for Mallows in 2025?
Oh gosh, I don't know. New retail partners, lots of new products, hopefully new territories. And I think for me, I really want to do what we're doing but better. So I'm really looking at like content, products, how I can improve everything and make the customer experience the best it possibly can be. So I'm trying to like refine as much as possible.
Right.
I'm less thinking about growth and more thinking about how to make everyone who touches Mallows happy, whether that's in the team, externally, whatever it is. That's my mission.
Thank you so much to Laura for joining us today. Yeah,
you,
really
Anthony.
appreciate it. Really inspiring story, and can't wait to see what's next for Mallows.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And thanks tok.shop as well.
Thanks so much for tuning into today's episode, where I had the pleasure of chatting with Laura, the founder of Mallows Beauty. Honestly, Laura is a bit of a superwoman, launching a business while navigating the whirlwind of new motherhood. What really stood out is how, like so many founders we meet, she's not driven by money, but by a deep mission and passion to make a difference. We also got a fascinating glimpse into how the founder's journey evolves, from those early scrappy days of doing everything yourself to the much different challenge of building an established brand, where decisions become less about immediate hustle and more about how you communicate your vision consistently, day in, day out, sometimes even to your own team. If there's one takeaway from Laura's story, is this: being mission-driven fuels the hustle, but evolving the hustle fuels the mission. Because sometimes building a business is less about the bottom line and more about the backbone you're creating. Join us next week where we interview Strame, and please leave your comments and questions below.